This video is going to do a review of the difference in margin, padding, and covering width again. So once you're in Blackboard, click on the demos link, and then we're going to scroll down to structure part 2. We already did the demo structure start. What we want to do is now download the margin, padding, and width zip. So I'm going to right click and choose Save Link As. And I want this to go in the Web 1 demos folder. So I'm going to navigate to the demos folder and unzip this by double clicking, and then I can throw away the zip. Take a look inside. Got some CSS files, some images, and then I have an index. Okay, so I'm going to make this smaller to start out, and then bring Dreamweaver back up. Okay, there we go. I'm going to open up the index page, and we'll see that the reset is already there. There's already some styles, obviously, and we have a lot of HTML tags and text in here. Now, one thing I want to point out is that I've already put in a couple of things. So I already have the header tag going around the H1. I have a main tag. Right? You need to always have a main, and you always have to have an H1, because there should always be a most important heading on the page, and there should always be a main reason that you're on the page. Now, with these boxes, I call them ID1 because there's nothing else on this page I want to look like this box right here. Now, if I wanted this purple color and the border and everything to be duplicated on all these boxes, then I would use a class. But because it's going to look unique and different from everything else, I gave it an ID name. Now that I use the name 1, I can't use it anywhere else. Now, if you were building an actual website, you wouldn't use an ID or a class called 1, 2, 3, 4 because it should be based on the context. Also, you cannot start these names, and the same thing goes for classes, you cannot start them with an actual number. So if you tried to do this, it wouldn't work. It has to start with text. It could do this, like you could have a number after you've put some text in, but you can't start with a number. Okay, so let's take a look at what this page is asking us to do. All right, so box 1, it says width and center. Change the width to make this box only cover half of the screen, and then center this box. And then there's some cat Lorem Ipsum in there for you guys. Okay, so make the width only half of the screen and then center it. Okay, so let's take a look at that. So we're styling ID number 1. Okay, so that's this one right here. It already has a background color on it. It already has a border on it. So the first thing it did is said to make it cover only half of the screen. So that's talking about width. Whoops, not that. Width. And then 50%. Okay, so let's save it and see if that changes. Refresh. There we go. It's covering half the screen. Great. Now, we should also put a max width on it because no matter how wide I make this page, see, because it's a percentage, it's going to grow with the page. And that's great. That's responsive web design. That's what we want to do. But we also want to be smart about it and say, okay, there's going to be a certain point where I don't want it to grow anymore. And that's where max width comes in. So in this case, I'll just put in a max width of 1,000 pixels. I know it didn't ask for that, but this is just kind of you being one step ahead of the game and saying, if I'm putting a width on something, I'm probably going to want a max width on it at some point. Okay, so I'll do that, and maybe we'll see it grow up to 1,000 and stop. Yep, there it is. Okay, so 1,000 and it stops. And the next thing it says to do is to center it. So what I want to do is show you how to center a block level element, and it's a trick with margin. So anytime you have a block level element, which in this case 1 is on a section, and that's a block level element, you can do margin, and then the top and the bottom can be any number, right? In this case, I'll just do 0 because I don't want it to change. As long as the right and the left are auto, it will automatically center it. Okay, Bam, just like that. That's great, right? And just keep in mind that because the top and the bottom values are the same and the right and the left values are the same, you could actually kind of do this in shorthand almost by doing this. So you could just do 0 space auto, and again, I'll save it, Command or Control S, refresh, and it doesn't do anything because I just told it to do the same thing it was already doing. Okay, great. Let's move on to the second one. The second one, okay, and again, I've got comments, so let's keep doing that. All right, so box 2, it says margin. Do not let anything touch this box on the outside edge. There should be more empty space on top than there is on the bottom. Okay, so that's telling me that not all of my values are going to be the same, so I can't use the same number. So let's go to where it has the ID styling for 2. And okay, so it said that I don't want anything to touch it on the outside. So basically what that means is I want to take this entire bluish periwinkle, whatever color, and I want to make it so that this top border and this left border and this black or this bottom border and this right border do not touch anything. So that is on the outside and that is margin. So I'm going to do margin. Okay, and just to show you, if I do 10% and I just do 10%, that will do 10% on all sides. Okay, so I saved that code. Look, so now nothing is here, nothing is here, nothing is here, nothing is here. Let me show you if I change that to padding. That's going to put the border back out where it was, but push the text in on the inside. See how the border goes back out that way? That's the difference. Okay, so padding is going to leave that outer edge where it was and just push things around on the inside. So that's not what we want. So margin. All right, so margin moves the entire thing, not just the text. Okay, great. That's what we wanted. And the text actually said there should be more empty space on the top than there is on the bottom. So I'm actually going to do, so 10%, we'll put that on the top. And then I'll do 3% on the right and 5% on the bottom, and then I'll just do 2% on the left. So all different amount of spacing. There we go. So here's 10, and then here is, I think I said 3. Yeah, 10, 3. Here's 5, and then here's 2. Okay, so a little bit of everything. All right, box number 3 says padding. Do not let text touch the inside edge of this box. Okay, so that's just kind of what we looked at. So I'm going to do number 3, and on the inside, that's padding. And I'll just do all different numbers again, just to show you that you can. So I'll do 1% on the top, 2% on the right, and 3% on the bottom, and 4% on the left. Save it, Command or Control S, and refresh. And there you go. So now you can see the difference. This border stays on the edge. Like it takes up, again, it's taking up 100% of the width because that's what a block level element does. And that border edge is sticking on the sides. It's not coming in at all. The text did, but the border is staying out there. That's padding. So padding is pushing things away on the inside. Okay, and then lastly, number 4, it says margin, width, and padding. This box should only be about 75% of the page wide. Also, make it so nothing touches the outside edge of this box by 5% on all sides. This text should not touch the inside of the edge. Okay, so this box should only be 75% of the page. So that's talking about width. Also, make it so that nothing touches the outside edge of the box. That's margin, so outside is margin. And the text should not touch the inside, so inside is padding. Okay, so let's go to number 4. And let's do width. And so it said 75%. 75%. Save it. You want to get in the habit of saving your work and coming in and checking it. Okay, so now it's 75% wide. And then it said the margin should be 5%, and we'll just do 5% on all sides. Okay, so that should take this entire border, the entire box, and move it around. There we go. Okay, so you can See how it just moved the whole thing? And now it's saying padding, and there wasn't any value for padding, so I will just add 3%, save it, and there you go. So now you have it so the text isn't touching the edge, you have some margin on it, and then you also have an overall width. So that's just trying to give you another review of margin and padding and width, because not so much width, but people do kind of confuse margin and padding. So I wanted to kind of give you this to do another rundown of it, and hopefully it makes a little more sense. As always, if you guys are having any questions or problems, please do not hesitate to ask. Thanks and have a good one.